Hey crafty friends, it's Lisa, your DIY diva. Are you getting geared up for your holiday decorating? Well, if you are and you like gingerbread, I have some fun brand new crafts for you, and I'm here to show you exactly how you can make each and every one of these projects. And trust me, if you make these projects, everyone is going to be truly impressed by your incredible crafting skills. So I got these cutting boards on Amazon, and these are a little bit different than the cutting boards that you'll find at Dollar Tree, but these are perfect for Christmas crafting. So what I'm going to do is take some puffy paint and I'm going to spread that around the majority of the bottom portion of this cutting board. My goal is to make this look like a bunch of frosting that's been spread out all over the board. And the puffy paint is perfect for this because it has some texture to it and it definitely resembles frosting. If you're going to be doing any gingerbread crafting this Christmas season, I would really encourage you to check out this puffy paint because it is perfect for any gingerbread craft that you want to create. And now I'm just taking a paintbrush and swirling the puffy paint around to get the shape and the texture that I want it to look like on the cutting board. Another really nice thing about the puffy paint is it doesn't crack. So no matter how much paint I put onto any of my projects, there's no cracks, no indentations, nothing. It works perfect. Next, I'm going to come back with this gingerbread man that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I removed all of the embellishments. I want to add some puffy paint to make it look more like a gingerbread cookie. If you can't find these gingerbread cookies at Hobby Lobby, any type of gingerbread cookie would do. You could even make one out of air dry clay, but I'm just taking some puffy paint, and this is actually from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add a little bit of that paint to both of the hands and the legs of my gingerbread. And I thought I would add a couple of buttons down the front as well. Next, I'm going to take the gingerbread man and I'm going to put it on top of the cutting board, and it's actually going to go over top of the puffy paint. And next, I'm going to come back with some different fake peppermint pieces, and I'm going to put those onto my frosting on the cutting board. And I got this ornament at Hobby Lobby, and the reason I got it was because of the peppermints inside. There are so many peppermint pieces in here, and they're not real, they are fake, but these are perfect for Christmas crafts. So I took the top off of the ornament and then I removed the peppermint candies. And I put a few of them onto the puffy paint. I thought it would also look really nice to take one of those peppermints and cover up that center hole at the top of the cutting board. Now I'm just going to take some fake sprinkles and sprinkle them onto my frosting, which is also the puffy paint. And I was inspired to make this cutting board after doing some searches on Pinterest. I've seen this cutting board a couple of different places, and you can actually buy it on Etsy as well. But I wanted to see if I could make it myself. Now, once I was happy with the sprinkles, then I did come back with a little bit of iridescent glitter and just sprinkle a little bit of that on top of the paint. And for my gingerbread man, I wanted him to have a face, so I used a black acrylic paint marker and I drew a face onto the gingerbread man. I did add a dot of white paint to each of the eyes so it looks like there's catch lights, and I took a red faux sprinkle and I used that for the gingerbread man's nose. And I did want to add a bow, and I found this really pretty ribbon at Hobby Lobby. It actually has a different design on each side. So one side is polka dots and the other side has stripes. So I just made a simple bow, and to secure it in the center, I used a zip tie that I got in a pack of zip ties from Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree zip ties are really great for projects where you want to make a bow out of ribbon. Then I came back with a smaller piece of ribbon and I secured that with hot glue to the center of my bow. That way the zip tie isn't going to show. And then I used a little bit more hot glue and secured the bow to the top portion of my cutting board. And just like that, the first project is done. And what's really nice with this cutting board, because I covered up that hole that's at the top with that peppermint piece, that hole from the back acts like a hanger, making it easy to hang up and display. Now, have you seen these 3-tier cake trays at your Dollar Tree? If you find these, I would highly recommend you pick one up, or two, maybe even 3. But for over a year now, I've wanted to make the Pottery Barn gingerbread tiered tray, and I thought this would be perfect. I'm sure this is a little bit smaller, but for $2, I think it's totally worth trying. Now, my Dollar Tree has been covering up the original prices of everything in the store, so I wanted to see what the original price was on this cake tray. And it was $1.25, but now it's $2. And what's really nice about this tray is you get the 3 separate plastic trays, but then you also get the hardware, and the hardware is actually metal, and it even includes the screws and the washers. So I'm going to start my project by painting each of the plates. So I just took a couple of different acrylic paints. And I did add a little bit of modeling paste. The modeling paste is going to give this a little bit more texture. So once I added in the paste, then I just blended the paint and the paste together. It seems like the paste makes it easier for the paint to stick to the plastic too. Next, I came back and painted each of the individual trays or plates. I did do 2 coats of paint on the top as well as the bottom of each plate. And that diamond pattern, it's on the bottom of the plate, so it doesn't show through on the top once it's painted. But I think you can see how much texture that paste actually adds to each of these plates. It definitely gives more of a ceramic look than if I were just to paint the plates with the acrylic paint. Now, once I had painted both the top and the bottom of each of the plates, then I came back with the puffy paint and I just added a design all the way around each plate. Now, I did have a picture of the Pottery Barn tiered tray, so I was trying to get a pattern that was similar to that. So I was trying to replicate the pattern from the Pottery Barn version on each of these individual plates. So the largest plate has the least amount of pattern on it, which was probably the easiest way to start. Now I'm going to start on the middle plate. The Pottery Barn version has a much more intricate pattern, but I didn't get that detailed. I tried to make it look similar to Pottery Barn, but I wanted it to be simple as well. And once I was done with the middle plate, then I started with the top one. And it seemed like each plate that I did, the pattern got a little bit more intricate and a little bit more detailed. So the top plate is going to have the most intricate pattern. Now, once the puffy paint had dried, this is what the plates look like, but I want them to have a ceramic look, so I'm going to be using this clear acrylic coating, and this is in a high gloss finish, and I'm going to do several coats on each of the plates. I did make sure to do the top and the bottom of the plates. And this is what they looked like when they were all dry. You can still see the pattern on the bottom, but again, not on the top. So now I'm going to assemble my tiered tray. So like I said, all of the hardware and the washers, everything is included in this kit. And what I really liked about this was that each of the plates, the holes were already pre-drilled, so I don't have to worry about drilling them, and I can assemble each layer of the tray very easily and quickly. And just like that, my Pottery Barn dupe is done. I know it doesn't look exactly like Pottery Barn, but I am so excited to use this in my decorating this year. I'm going to be using this in my kitchen on Christmas Eve when I can put some cookies and stuff on it for my family. This is so beautiful. And at $2, it was much more affordable than the Pottery Barn version, which is well over $100. Now, I love all of the Pottery Barn gingerbread pieces, and I wanted to make some chargers for my kitchen table. Now, these chargers from Dollar Tree are perfect. They're the glitter chargers, and because of the glitter, it already has some texture. So then all I have to do is come back with the same paint that I made for my tiered tray. That's what I'm using on this charger. So I'm just going to put a thick coat of that paint onto the charger. Now, if you really want to be fancy, you could also do the bottom of the charger as well. I decided not to because it's not going to be showing when it's on my table, so I just painted the top side of each of the chargers. Again, I wanted it to have more of a ceramic appearance, so I just did a little bit of texturing by swirling my paintbrush around as I put on a final coat of the paint. And once it was dry, I came back with the puffy paint and I just painted the same design that I did on the bottom plate for the tiered tray. That's what I did around the edge of this charger. And at first when I was doing this, I was like, oh, this isn't really looking like the Pottery Barn charger. But the more of the pattern that I completed on the charger, the better it looked. Now, once I had that center pattern done, then I did come back and just put dots all the way around the outer edge of the charger. And once the paint had dried, I took the chargers back into my garage and did the same process with the acrylic spray paint. Again, this is a high gloss finish. And even though it's dark when I was filming this, I just wanted to show you how pretty these chargers are. I just wanted to show you how you can get that Pottery Barn look without the Pottery Barn price tag. Now for this project, I'm using a Dollar Tree glass mug. This time of year, Dollar Tree brings out all of their glassware, and I had plenty of that paint left, and I thought it would be really pretty to have a gingerbread mug as an accent to the other gingerbread pieces that I've created. So I just took that same acrylic paint and I painted the entire mug on the inside and the outside with the acrylic paint. And once that paint had dried, I came back with the puffy paint and I just created some different patterns and designs around the outside of the mug. And once I was happy with my patterns around the mug itself, then I came back to the top edge of the mug and I used more of the puffy paint to almost make it look like there is icing dripping down from the top. And this is what the mug looks like when it's dry. And I did take that outside and give it a coat of the spray paint too. But now I want to fill this mug, but I don't want to fill the entire mug. So I had this peppermint candy that I got from Walmart, and it actually fit perfect into the top of the mug. So then I just used a little bit of hot glue and secured it in place. Now I found this really cute gingerbread house at Hobby Lobby, and I thought this would be so pretty on the top of my mug. So I came back with a little bit of hot glue and I secured it to the center of the peppermint that's on top of the mug. Next, I came back with some fast and final spackling, and I'm going to add that to the top, and I want it to look like frosting. So I put some into a bowl, and then I came back with some high gloss Mod Podge and added that to the spackle. I wanted it to have a little bit more of a white color, so I added a little bit of the puffy paint, and I was curious if I added glitter if it would show up, so I added some glitter too. Next, I blended all of my ingredients together for my faux frosting, and then I scooped it into a frosting or a pastry bag. And I'm not really a pastry chef, so I don't know which tip I had on the end of the pastry bag, but it's more of a star tip. And then I just took my frosting and I covered the top of the mug. So anywhere where that peppermint was showing, I just covered it with the spackling and tried to make it look like the house was just tucked into the frosting in the center. I did come back with a little bit more glitter and put that on the frosting as well. Now I want to add a little bit of extra embellishments, and I found these gingerbread stickers at Hobby Lobby. So I took 2 of them and secured them together so the front and the back both look like a gingerbread man. And I put one on either side of the gingerbread house. Then I had some candy cane stickers and some peppermint pieces, and I tucked them down into the frosting too. I also had some really pretty red beads that look like candy, so I put those on. And I added in some fake candy canes, as well as adding in a few extra sprinkles. And this is how this gingerbread mug turned out. I think this is so cute. I'm so happy with this project. It was really easy to do, and I think it'll work great with my gingerbread theme. I found these wooden ornaments at Hobby Lobby, and they're $2.49, but at 50% off, they're the same price as if I were to get them at Dollar Tree. So I'm not going to use them as ornaments. I'm going to use them as gingerbread men. So I'm going to take that same acrylic paint that I've been using for all of these projects, and I'm going to paint the ornaments nutmeg and caramel colored acrylic paint. I made sure to paint the front and the back of each of the ornaments. Now, the very tip of the ornament, that doesn't matter if it gets painted or not, because that's going to be tucked down into a crate. So once my paint had dried, I came back with the puffy paint and I added just a little squiggly line of it all the way around the edge of the ornament. And I just repeated that step on the other ornaments as well. Once the puffy paint had time to dry, then I came back with some black acrylic paint and I painted eyes on each of the ornaments. And if you don't have black acrylic paint, you could probably even use a Sharpie marker or an acrylic paint marker to do the same thing. And because I wasn't sure how big I wanted the eyes to be for the gingerbread men, I just kept adding a little bit more black paint to make the eyes larger and larger until I had them the size that I wanted them to be. I also painted on some eyebrows as well as a smile on each of the gingerbread men. And one of my gingerbread men is actually going to be a gingerbread lady, so I gave her some eyelashes. I also added a little bit of white paint to each eye for the catch lights. I like adding the white accents to the eyes. Then I dry brushed a little bit of red acrylic paint to make some cheeks for each of the gingerbread people. Now, while my gingerbread people were drying, then I came back with a Dollar Tree crate. These are so much fun to work with, especially during the holidays. And I found this really pretty nutmeg colored wax, so antiquing wax. So I painted that onto the crate and then I just wiped away the excess. That's going to give it a little bit of a lighter color stain once it's all finished. I've never seen antiquing wax like this before, and I really liked it. I found it on Amazon, so I will be sure to leave a link in the description box in case you wanted to try it out too. Then I came back with some Dollar Tree floral foam, and I just secured that down into the center of the crate. And I also added a bow to my gingerbread lady. Next, I came back with some faux pine stems and I cut individual pieces off and I tucked them down into the floral foam. This will be the back of my display. I also added in some smaller pieces of pine to add in just a little bit of something extra and of course some more texture. Now, once I was happy with how the back of the crate is looking with the pine, then I brought my gingerbread people in and I secured them with hot glue into the foam. Now I'm just going to come back with some more of those pine pieces and I'm just going to fill in the front part of the crate. Now, I found these peppermint candies at Hobby Lobby and I thought they would be really pretty with my gingerbread people, so I cut off a couple of the peppermints and I tucked them into the crate, and then I just kept adding in more pine pieces. I want to fill in everything so that you can't see any of the floral foam. I added in some of the peppermints to the back, and then I also added in some candy canes to the front. And I thought it would be pretty with a few pine cones and then again some more of those red beads that look like candy. And just like that, my gingerbread people in a crate is complete. This was so much fun to do. I love how this turned out. It is so cute. I think I loved how all of these projects turned out. Anything with gingerbread just really makes me smile. And I can't believe it, but we have already reached the end of the video. Well, I hope that you loved crafting with me today as much as I enjoyed sharing these projects with you. If these gingerbread crafts inspired you, be sure to hit that subscribe button because I post new budget-friendly projects each and every week. And I don't want you to miss out on a single way to transform your space this Christmas. Remember, crafting isn't about how much money you spend, it's about the love and creativity that you put into each and every project that you create. Until next time, stay crafty and keep creating.